Good evening. Welcome to Satsang tonight. This is my first Satsang this year with a short-sleeved t-shirt. It's so lovely outside and I really enjoy the warmth. Yeah, welcome. I'm happy that you're here. Here in Satsang, I'm here to answer your questions and to share with you a few things about what I discovered in life. And I just did not discover these things because I'm so smart, or so wise, or so holy. But it's life which brings this discovery to each of us. I'm just like you. There's nothing special about me. But when I was ready, a spiritual master came into my life. And he prepared me. And when I was ready, a guru came into my life. And he brought me home. It's really like life does it for us. If we are ready, if we are willing, if we come to the point in our life where we become ready to let life carry us. Yeah, and I was just lucky. And what I experienced is something everybody can do. There's nothing special about it. And this is what I share in Satsang. I don't share my own wisdom. I share this what my master brought to me. I share this what I hear from my guru every day. And I share this in the context of my own experiences. Everything I tell you is my own experience. And that's why I can tell you with such a confidence that you can do this too. If I can do this, you can do this too. It's a natural part of life. That's what Buddha talked about. That's what Jesus talked about. They talked about something which is natural, which is part of being human. Yeah. And during these 1.5 hours, I'm here to answer your questions about your life, practical questions about your life, but also your spiritual questions. And I frequently talk about Samarpan Meditation. This meditation was brought into my life by my guru, Swamiji. And I talk a lot about this meditation because it changed my life completely. So when you hear me talk about it, know that this is not my meditation, although I talk about it all the time. It comes from the Himalayas. It's a very old meditation which was preserved in the Himalayas for 800 years until now. And only now the time has become ripe that this meditation can be brought into society. And we are lucky enough that we live at this time. It's a totally simple meditation. There's nothing difficult about it, but only now are we ready to receive it and to do it. And when you do it, it's totally simple. You wonder, why only now? But a few years back, it just wasn't possible. But now it's possible. That's why I share about it all the time. So if you have questions, please write in the chat of this satsang in Zoom or in YouTube. You can also talk to me directly over Zoom if you like. And if there are no live questions from you, from the chat or from Zoom, I have a few emails, a few questions I received prior to the satsang, and I will read them out and talk a little bit about this. Yeah, that's what we do here now until 9 o'clock, and I'm totally delighted that this is another Satsang evening tonight. Simone, should I start or do you have something?
I have a question, Michael.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
I will read it out now.
Yes.
It's from Stephen.
Good evening, Stephen. Hello, I'm happy that you're here.
Dear Michael, I work in my company since several years. Basically, there are only my boss, his wife, and 2 more people, including me, working there. I've seen many colleagues come and go. My boss is a person with a very difficult narcissistic character. The last of my dear colleagues quit his job because he couldn't stand his respectless behavior anymore. If there was a situation in which my boss treated him badly, I always felt so helpless and had the wish to defend my colleague, but then I was too scared to say anything. What do you recommend in such a situation? Thank you so much, Stephen.
Thank you for your question. I love these real life questions very, very much. I was in a situation like you describe more than once. And I understand that you cannot defend your colleague when your colleague is being treated badly by your boss. It's your colleague who has to do this. If your boss treats you badly, then you can see what you do. Many years ago, 40 years ago, I was an officer in the army. And I had a boss, my superior. He was like this. He was an animal. He could treat people so badly in front of everybody. It was amazing. Nobody dared to say anything. And in the army, the boss has a lot of power. And you are obliged to follow his orders. And you are not allowed to speak up. One day, he treated me like this in front of the entire unit. I didn't say anything. I knew this is not appropriate. And I wasn't a courageous person. I wasn't special. But afterwards, I went to his office where we were alone. And I told him, "Sir, with all due respect, if you will ever do this again, I will do something. I will speak up." I wasn't fighting him. I wasn't criticizing him. I didn't make him wrong. It just happened. It never happened again with me. These things are interpersonal between you and somebody else. With somebody else, your boss is different than he is with you. And you are different depending on with whom you are interacting. There's not one Stephen. If you would be sitting in front of me and we talk, you are different. And when you talk to your boss, you are a completely different person. That's why you cannot help somebody else. So And a few years later, I wasn't in the army anymore. I was at a lovely company, and the big boss was also such a person. Very choleric, very dangerous. Everybody was scared of him. I never had a problem with him. Never. It is as if our outward world reflects how we are inside. I didn't think about it. I was just the way I was. As I said, not special, not courageous. I had some kind of freedom, some kind of courage in me, which I didn't know anything about because it was normal for me. And the soul of this person knew if he would treat me like everybody else, he would be up for a different experience, although I was 3 levels below him in the company. So it's all very mysterious. But I tell you these experiences of my life because I want to illustrate to you where the solution lies. And the solution lies in you. When you are strong inside, nobody messes with you. And I don't mean the quality of your thoughts. I don't mean what you think about yourself. Yeah, this is not the important part. When you want something from somebody else, you are a victim. And some people will sense this and they victimize you. But if you don't need something from somebody else, you can't be victimized. It's impossible. And they know it. Unconsciously, on a soul level. And this is why the Samarpan meditation I speak about so frequently works miracles for you with these practical life things. When you start meditating, you come closer to yourself, to your soul. You don't know what that means, but this is not important. But when you meditate every morning, month by month, year by year, you become strong in yourself. You don't know anything about it. It's not that you think great thoughts, but you become stronger. And you become independent of your surroundings. It is as if you find in yourself what you really need. The source of energy, the source of life. Practically. And then everything becomes easy. And the problems you encounter normally in your practical life, for instance, in partnership, for instance, at work, they all disappear. Because you're not looking for anything out there anymore. So, my recommendation is, and this is based on my own experience, don't try to fix the outside. Don't worry about how to deal with your boss. If I have a difficult situation in my life now, I know, oh, wait a moment. How is my inner state? How is my relationship with myself? and I improve this. And when you do this, the outside problem changes because you change. And the change is practical, It's not some esoteric ideas, but just by meditating every morning, where you forget everything. You don't think about your problems. You don't think about your boss. No, you just let go, and you practice this every morning for half an hour. You change. And you don't know how it is possible, but over the months and years, your outward life changes. Swamiji says it this way: all of your problems disappear, and you don't even know how this is possible. And this is the real reason why you cannot help your colleague. Of course, you could jump in when it's a really bad situation to prevent your boss from yelling at your colleague, but this doesn't change anything. Your colleague has to find his own way to himself, and then this will all change. And the beautiful thing about this meditation is that you don't have to worry about all the details. You don't have to analyze the situation. You don't even have to analyze yourself. You just meditate every morning, and you do the opposite of analyzing. You let go. You become totally quiet. You turn away from your thoughts, and you just rest in yourself, in the crown chakra. And that's all you do. And you just keep living your life, and everything changes. I want to give you one more example from my own life. I was, and still am, with a really wonderful boss, my spiritual master. I used to be in his team 20 years. For 20 years, I was traveling with him all over Germany and Europe. And he gave Satsang, and I was the technician. I saw many team members come and go. For me, he's the most wonderful boss, and also the most wonderful master. But I saw many people come and go who had difficulties with him. But it depends on the person, not on the boss. Of course, he's not a narcissist. He's not choleric. But, people have difficulty with anybody. What I want to illustrate is the same person can be a problem for somebody and not a problem for somebody else. It depends on your inner state. So, when you know this, just work on your inner state. Meditate. And when you meditate, your boss changes. You don't know how this is possible, but it is true. That's my recommendation. Yeah. Thank you, Stephen. I'm delighted that you're here.
I have no other question at the moment, Michael.
Okay, thank you, Simone. I want to talk about something which came up for me the last few days. I got a letter from a lady who sent me a question for the last English online satsang. And she asked for my take on something Swamiji said. And I told her how I understand this, what I think. And I would like to add a few things about this. Swamiji said that it's not good to use the soul mantra. This is the mantra which is being said in the beginning of the Samarpan meditation. I'm a holy soul. I'm a pure soul. This is being repeated 3 times. And then you start meditating for half an hour. And he said, it's not a good idea to use this mantra during the day as a kind of distraction or as for constant repeating. And there are many people who repeat mantras or something, prayers, all day long. And for some people, this is saving them from their own craziness. But this is not what the mantra is made for. So Swamiji gave this advice, and I don't want to talk about the advice he gave. I can't, because if you want to know anything about this, you better ask him directly. But I would like to talk a little bit and add a little bit about how I deal with advice or the wisdom I hear from my master and from my guru. What do I do with it when I don't understand it? What do I do when I feel resistance? And every disciple comes to that point. The master, the guru says all kinds of things. And sometimes it touches you totally, and sometimes it triggers you. Sometimes you understand it totally, and you don't even know how this is possible. And sometimes you don't understand it at all. And very early on, my spiritual master, Soham, gave me a good advice on how to deal with this. He said, whenever you don't feel resonance with something I say, forget it. Then it's not for you at this point. And this was such a good advice for me, because it made me free. It gave me permission to choose myself what I accept and what not. And in this freedom, I was as open as I possibly could be. If you have the feeling, oh, you have to understand what the master says or the guru, you have to follow this, then you get tight. And it stirs up resistance immediately. It is not helpful. So my master gave me this wonderful advice. And this is what I was doing ever since. When I hear something and I don't agree, I don't do it. And because I don't think about it a second time, I don't make myself wrong, I don't make the master wrong or the guru, because I'm free. I don't have to fight. And then because I'm free and relaxed with it and open, sometimes a few days later, sometimes a few minutes later, I understand. In this freedom comes understanding. Sometimes. And sometimes the guru says something and I don't understand it at all. I just don't understand. But I follow it. I have this feeling inside of me, I don't understand it, but I do it. Sometimes I hear something, I don't understand it, and I don't want to do anything with it. I don't want to. And then I forget it. So I'm free. I don't have this need to justify myself because I'm free. And this is very, very helpful for me. And that's what I want to add to this topic. That's how I deal with these things. And my master gave me this freedom from the very beginning. And that's why I'm still here. Because I'm free. And there's a second thing I would like to add. And this is also something my spiritual master Soham said. He said, I can answer the same question and I will say different things depending on to whom I speak. The answer depends on the person who asks. The answer depends on who is listening. That's why I will answer the same question differently if somebody else asks the same question tomorrow. And when you know this, then you can relax. That's why Soham said, if you don't feel resonance with it, forget it. Then it was not for you. But if an answer is for you, you know it. It might be difficult for you. It might challenge you. It might trigger you. But somehow it has a special energy. You know, this is for me. You just know it. Yeah. So you're free. And in this freedom, you are as receptive and as open as you possibly can be. And this is very helpful. Yeah, so much about this. Simone, can I go on? So now I would like to read out an email I received. Actually, this is a comment I received on the video Trusting Like a Master, Part 1. I talked about trust there. And here's the comment. Perfect trust. Crazy, but I know what you mean. But could I recommend the pain of purification that gets you there? I suppose life is pain anyway, so why not go for the purification? Where we are metal, heated in the coals, forged and beaten on the anvil and quenched in the spiritual waters in the divine forge. Now this sounds scary, but I know what you mean. Thank you for your comment. We have these great pictures in our head, like the divine anvil where we are being forged in the heat of, and in the Old Testament there are many very strong images to picture the human path, the path of purification, and it sounds all very scary and very, very painful. But I like it practical. And all these images speak about the normal challenge we have as a human as soon as we start turning towards ourselves. Every spiritual scripture describes the path of the human being to God. What does this mean? It is an image. It describes what happens when you start turning inwards and meeting yourself. When you begin to feel yourself, to discover yourself, to love yourself. And on the one hand, this is totally easy because you are not far away. That's why meditating is so easy. That's what you do in Samarpan Meditation. You turn towards yourself, although you don't know who this is, this self. But when you do this, as simple as it is, it's sometimes surprisingly difficult. And you don't even know why. There's nobody there. Nobody's fighting with you. You're just sitting there in silence, eyes closed, turning inwards. But then you meet all kinds of feelings and resistance which tries to prevent you from going inside. It's all very subtle, but these images, they describe this encounter of resistance in ourselves. And it can really feel like a battle, I understand. But it's something totally normal and natural. And, this is the nice part, when you start meditating, when you have never done it before, you come to a point where you meet this resistance, where you meet the pain you never felt inside of yourself, where you begin to meet yourself as you are. You begin to see many things about you which you never wanted to see. And that's painful in the beginning. But very quickly, after a few years, this is becoming easy. That's the nice part. But people love to dramatize. This is not helpful. Just meditate. And if you feel something difficult inside of yourself, just feel it. Don't think about it. Just let it be there. Don't do anything with it. And don't dramatize. Don't make a story out of it. Just forget it. In reality, there's no problem whatsoever. And something else I want to pick up on this comment. You said, since life is painful anyway, why not use it for purification? Yes, that's exactly what I say too. You see, you can live life in two ways. You can ignore the challenge which is waiting for you inside, and you just live an outward life. You look for happiness out there, and you know you won't find it there. Out there in the world, you will find one challenge after the other, one problem after the other, one pain after the other. And if you spend all of your time and strength on improving the outward life and on solving outward problems, you will never come to a point where you're done with it. There is no solution out there. So you're wasting your life. It's painful for nothing. But since you're living anyway, why not use this life, what it's here for, and turn inside? And this can be difficult at times, but it's worth it, because there you find the path back to yourself. And the closer you come to yourself, the more all the problems evaporate. And life becomes easy. And this is lasting. Yeah, when you make a lot of money, you will lose it. You will, no matter what you do. Either somebody will rob you, or cheat you, or you die. Yeah? And if you collect success and fame, it will leave you. Either you become unsuccessful, or people start hating you, or you die. It's all gone. But this discovery of your soul, this ability to begin to see yourself, this ability to see God, this doesn't go away. This is permanent. So since you live anyway, why not use life for this? Yeah, I totally agree. Thank you for your comment. Simone, you look like you have something.
Yes, I do. I do.
Lovely.
I have a question from Mary.
Hello, Mary. Good evening.
Dear Michael, I have a question to a saying of Swamiji, which he often repeats. Deals of keeping the chitta pure. I really try to do so. I do not watch or listen to the news. I care about with whom I am in contact and so on. But when I go to the office, a lot of negative energies are there, influencing my chitta. And I usually come home and I am completely exhausted. How can I handle this situation in a better way? And how are you dealing with such bad influences?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mary. Well, when Swamiji says, keep your chitta clear, I can tell you what it means to me. If you want to know what he means for this, you have to ask him. But I can tell you how I understand this. It's about what I do with my chitta. Whether I put my chitta is a word for attention. It's like my inner attention. Chitta is an Indian word which doesn't really have a direct translation, but it's like your inner attention. Where does your inner eye go to? And just last night, I read something about this from Swamiji, every night before I fall asleep, I read in some of Swamiji's scriptures, and sometimes I stumble across a paragraph which I then read night after night and after night again and again and again. It's like I'm stuck with this one paragraph for a week or sometimes 2 weeks because I'm not done with it. And every night I read it again, the same paragraph. And I'm astonished every night because I have to hear it over and over again. And what he says about this is one of those paragraphs. This is what I'm reading right now every night. He says, keep your chitta clean. Don't look for the negative in other people. Don't look for the faults of other people. Don't see the faults of other people. And he says, the ability to see fault is good if you apply it to yourself. If you use your chitta, your attention, your awareness, your inner awareness, in recognizing yourself and your own faults, without judging yourself, without making yourself wrong, without beating you up, just by seeing how it is, how you are, then this will improve. Just by your giving your attention to how you are, just by spending all of your awareness experiencing yourself, you will grow. You will become purified. You will become better. Your faults will disappear over time. But when you use your chitta for looking at the faults of other people, it will make you weak. And you notice this by how you feel. You get upset. You get weak. You get exhausted. Yeah? You start thinking about the other people and how stupid they are and why do they do it this way, and it's endless. And you lose all of your energy in this. And Swamiji says in this paragraph, don't do this. Don't put your attention on the faults of other people. And this is a strong one. Because that's what we do all the time. But when you instead turn towards yourself and just don't care at all about what other people do, just deal with the situation as well as you can and experience yourself. There you find a lot to improve. This is very, very good advice. Jesus said the same thing, by the way. He said, don't look at the splint in the eye of your neighbor. Look at the log in your own eye. He talks about exactly the same thing. He said, don't use your awareness looking at other people, how they are. Don't look at their negativity. If you see negativity, immediately notice, oh, why am I seeing negativity? How is this possible? I must be looking in that direction. I must be looking with eyes which look for negativity. What am I doing? And immediately you can turn away, looking at yourself. How do I feel? How am I doing? What can I do? Or look at something beautiful. You can look at the same person and you refocus on the positive. And then you see a human being, beautiful in his or her helplessness or inability or immaturity. That's why I'm stuck with this one paragraph since days. This is really strong. The whole world does the opposite. It was like this at Jesus' times, and it is like this today. And today it's even more than 2,000 years ago, because now we have so much more information. You can just take your handy and scroll on YouTube, and you find shorts and videos and opinions about everything. And there you destroy your chitta. There you destroy your awareness. That's where you get the negativity from. And then you notice, what am I doing? I'm getting grumpy. I'm getting tired. Yeah. Only look at yourself. But it's easier, We are so weak. And it's so much easier to look at the faults of others. Because as soon as we don't do this, as soon as we become quiet, we are confronted with ourselves, with our own weaknesses, with our helplessness towards our own weaknesses, our own mind, our own thoughts. And that's very unpleasant. That's the reason why we like to judge others. Yeah. So what can you do? I will tell you what I do. When I notice that I find somebody difficult, when I notice that I get grumpy or I feel negative in the company of somebody else, it's like an alarm bell for myself. For me, it's like, wait a moment, what am I doing? Where's my attention? And sure enough, my attention is with the other person. I'm looking for faults in the other person. And if you do this, you will find them. I promise you. You will find them everywhere. And the closer the people are to you, the easier it is to find fault in other people, in your colleagues, in your boss, and in your partner, in your parents, and in your siblings. So and I think that's why, how to say this? We don't like to notice this because we don't want to admit to ourselves that we feed on this. This is an ego thing. By judging other people and by seeing the negative things they produce, we feed our ego. And some people do both. They see the negative with other people and they see the negative in themselves. Some people use it to feel great, but it's all ego, of course. But it's a surprisingly big challenge to not see the negative in other people. When you do stop with this, you're being thrown back to yourself. That's the hard part. You ask how to deal with the negativity of such a situation when people are negative at work, for example, when people are complaining all the time and when people are in a bad mood or when people bring their emotional, difficult energy there. And then you experience this, of course. Again, don't look at this. Look at yourself. How do I feel? Oh, I'm getting grumpy. Okay. Then I'm with my grumpiness. I accept my grumpiness. Maybe I get aggressive. And then just to be with my aggression, or with my helplessness, or with my frustration. It doesn't matter what it is. Just by me taking my chitta back to myself and to what is here changes everything. Yeah. Yeah, and of course, I always forget to say this because it's so normal for me, but of course then say yes to this. Yeah. Oh, I'm getting pissed. Interesting. Yes, okay. I am like this. Not thinking about the other person, not thinking about the stupidity of the boss. Oh no, I'm pissed. Interesting. How does this feel? Yeah. I bring my chitta back to myself and I say yes to what I have inside of me. And when I have this yes, everything is easy. The problem is not the situation. That's what you think. Yeah, you think the problem is the colleague, the problem is the situation, the problem is the energy there. No, this is not true. As soon as you are willing to accept how you are in such a situation, how you feel, the bad situation is not bad anymore. It's just a situation. Oh, okay. Ross is crazy again today. Oh, yeah. I'm pissed again. Yeah. Okay. It's a situation. The bad, the negative, comes from our own attitude. As soon as you take your chitta back to yourself and to accept everything you find there, your mood, your energy, your feelings, everything changes. It's very simple. I only talked so much about it because we are so used to the opposite. Everybody does it. Yeah. I love this. This is why I love Swamiji so much, or what he says, because it's so practical advice. You know, it's like, it's really hands-on. What am I doing with my chitta? What am I doing with my awareness? Where do I have it? He says something, don't see bad, don't hear bad. And something else, don't do bad, I don't know. But don't see bad, don't hear bad. As soon as you hear or see bad, ask yourself, what am I doing? Because it's you. That's how I deal with it. That's my alarm bell. I have this often with my partner. You know, she's so close to me. I run into her many times a day in the kitchen or here or there. And she does everything wrong. I could do everything better. That's what the head says. Of course, it's not true. And every time that happens to me. It's like, wow, what am I doing? Interesting. When my attitude changes, I look at the same person and I just see beauty. And I'm touched. And when you do this, when you become strong enough to take your chitta and keep it with you, and to look at your own logs in your eye, it will improve you. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to work on your problems. You don't have to work on your negative whatever. This is all not necessary. Just keep your chitta, your attention, your awareness with yourself. That's what you do during meditation in the morning. But you can practice this during the day, practically, at work, at home. And when you do this, you will improve. You don't even know how this is possible. And this is the amazing part, the others will improve too. When you look at them with negative judgments, you feed the problem. You make it stronger. But when you don't do this, but when your attention goes to your soul, to yourself, in a mysterious way, you are a gift for the others. As if you take some of their burden away. And everything becomes easier. For you and for the others. That's why I never ask, why do I feel like this? Yeah, I'm in a situation, some people are there, and I start feeling really funny. I never ask, why do I feel like this? Whose fault is it? No. I notice, that's how I feel. Interesting. And I am with this. I don't care where it comes from. That's bringing the chitta back to me. When I wonder, who was this? Who did something? Whose energy is this? Then my chitta is out there. I don't do this. The quickest way back to health is to bring my chitta back to myself and not ask these questions, but accept everything I find inside of myself. Yeah, and then it's really easy. This is a really deep subject, a deep topic. Because essentially it means don't worry at all about the other people. Only look at yourself, at your own log. Forget everything else. Don't spend one moment thinking bad about anybody else. And try this out tomorrow when you go to the office. Well, tomorrow is Saturday, but maybe next week. It's amazing, this difference. It is as if you are in a different company. The company is the same. What changes is you. That's why people were so irresistibly drawn to Jesus, because he did not judge. He only had his attention inside with him. And this, what you feel with such a person from the outside is freedom, love. Yeah, everybody can see this. Everybody feels this. It's amazing. And when somebody judges, you can feel this too. Yeah, very clearly. Thank you for your question. Thank you very much, Mary.
There is not a question at the moment, Michael.
Okay, thank you. I have another question here. I got this question via email a few days ago. Is it possible for me to reach the present moment through accepting everything? I'm doing Samarpan Meditation for nearly 6 months, and I have already reached the present moment much easier than any moment before in my life. I believe my question is, what is next? What is my duty to do with this God-present peacefulness? I guess there are two questions here. The first one was, can you reach the present moment by accepting everything? Yes, you can only be here in the moment when you accept everything. If you don't accept, you are not here. You are here. Yeah, I just talked about it for many minutes when I talked to Mary. As soon as you accept the others and not worry about how they are at all, you just accept them no matter what they are, how they are, you come to yourself. Then you are here. And then everything becomes easy. It doesn't mean that you let yourself be abused necessarily. I'm talking about this inner attitude. And then usually fighting is not necessary at all. So yes, to answer your question, when you accept everything, you are here. And the next moment, you need to accept everything again. It's not something you do once and then you are done and over with. It's more like an attitude. An attitude which grows slowly and becomes more natural and stronger day by day. It needs a little bit of practice. But the beautiful thing about this is, as soon as you accept a little bit more, you immediately feel the difference. It's like day and night. Now, your second question, what to do with this now? You ask, what's next? Yeah, okay, now I'm here, and now I feel this presence of God. I feel this peacefulness. What now? What should I do with this? What's next? No next. Just be here. Live your life. Accept more. Be more here. Come a little bit closer to yourself. And tomorrow again. That's why this life as a holy human being is so easy. There's no next. You learn this one thing, acceptance, surrender. That's it. You don't have to learn anything else. You don't have to do anything else. But, and this is my personal experience, it gets more and more exciting, and at the same time more and more quiet, and I could say deeper, but this sounds so holy, all the time. It never gets boring. It gets kind of more heavenly, more delicious, the quieter and finer it gets. So don't worry about next. Yeah, of course, these questions come, but forget them. Just be here. Life will show you what it wants from you in practical terms. And it will do so very, very clearly. Thank you. Thank you so much. Simone, can I go on? I have another email here, which I just got before this satsang. I commented on one of your videos a few months back about Samarpan meditation, asking how to direct my attention from my thoughts to the crown chakra. I was now wondering if this meditation would help with addiction, substance abuse, and depression. I often feel overwhelmed by my suppressed emotions and turn to things like pornography or substances in order to cope. I was just wondering if somehow this meditation could save me from it. I realize that there's usually not one answer to these kind of things, but that multiple different variables that come together to create a new way of living and dealing with emotions. However, I remember you said that Swamiji told those people struggling with alcohol addiction to not try to improve upon themselves, implying that the meditation would change them by itself. Thank you for your question. Thank you for your email. Yes, this is exactly as you say. And this is my personal experience. And I have this experience over and over again. As long as you want to improve upon yourself, as long as you want to change yourself, you are in a fight with yourself. You're not here. You're living in an image of yourself. Soham, my spiritual master, said, by doing so, you feed the addiction. But when you stop trying to change yourself, but meditate at the same time, then your awareness grows, and more can you experience yourself the way you are. And more is not necessary. Just by being with yourself as you are, things change. Not because you change them, but because your awareness is with them. That's all. Have you ever experienced a small child in pain? A small child doesn't want you to talk. It doesn't need explanations. It doesn't need words of consolation. But when you are just with the child, acknowledging how the child feels and feeling with him or her, that's all they want. That's all they need. your willingness to be with them where they are, including their feelings. And then the feelings change. That's how it is with ourselves too. That's why this meditation works magic. Swamiji speaks about depression a lot. He said this is the disease of our times. More and more people get depressed. And he recommends meditate. Meditate and be patient with yourself. And this will change everything. Be with yourself the way you are. I know that this is almost impossible for you. But even this, you don't have to change. Just do it the way you can. Yeah, when I say this, be with yourself and don't change yourself, this can also sound very scary and very difficult. But I don't mean it like this. Leave yourself the way you are and meditate. Yeah, it's not another task. It's a relief. It's a freedom. When you come with this freedom to yourself, everything will change. And the meditation is the key. That will change everything. Meditate every morning without any expectations. And just continue living your life. And you're right, you say, often it's not one thing which contributes to healing or to change. You just keep living your life. And my experience is this. When I don't worry about the problem, but I allow myself to be the way I am, as stupid as I am, then when I'm meditating every day, I become more aware. And then those things which help me practically with my challenges come to me. Or I become open to them, or I attract them. I don't know how it works. But then, just by accident, I find the right information, or I find the right therapist, or whatever it is I need. And that comes into my life. And then everything becomes easy. It's really amazing how these things work. When you start meditating every day, and you say you do this now since half a year, and I'm delighted to hear this, you start relaxing a little bit. And in this relaxation, all the good stuff happens. So relax some more, meditate every day, and be patient with yourself. More is not needed. That's my experience. Thank you for writing. I'm totally happy that you're here.
I have no more questions, Michael. Do you have any?
What's the time? Oh, we have 10 more minutes. What? Already almost the end?
Yes, yes.
I don't have another question, but I do have one more thing I want to talk about. You know, Mary had this interesting question earlier, and there's something I want to add to this, because recently I was reading something and I found this very interesting. Yeah, it says it somewhere in the Bible. And it's one of those things which I never used to understand in the past. It says, if the battle is too big for you, if the battle is too large for you, it's not your battle. Leave it to God. And this is such wisdom. But only now I do understand it. It means you live your daily life and you come to a situation where you just don't know what to do. It's impossible. And when you come to a situation where you feel, I can't handle this, I don't know what to do, then know this is not your battle. God will take care of it. The only thing you need to do is be there. Be here with all of your awareness, with all your clarity. You don't have to have the right ideas. You don't have to know something. You don't have to make a decision or do something, but just being there, feeling how it feels. And you can only be there when you just accept the way things are. God takes over. And it has been like this for me in my life over and over again. When you come to a point where it's too big for you, just be there. I just wanted to say, and trust, but you don't even have to trust. God is there anyway. I remember one situation. I was really desperate. It was a work situation. And I mentioned at the beginning of the Satsang, when we talked about this impossible boss from Stephen, that I was in the army. And there came a point where I knew I can't stay here anymore. It felt like if I keep doing this job, I will destroy myself. I knew if I stay here, it's like I had the feeling I will lose my soul. I knew if I stay in this life, I will become an alcoholic like everybody else around me, and I will lose myself for the rest of this life. It was very strong for me, but I was desperate. I had no idea what to do. I was a professional officer, a soldier. I had signed a contract for many years. You can't just quit this. As a soldier, you have different rules, different laws. So I was basically desperate. And I remember this feeling, I can't do this. And I remember how I was walking in the woods praying. I wasn't a faithful Christian at all. But I was desperate. And I was praying to God. I said, God, I can't handle this. You need to do it. And He did. In the most amazing way. And He always does. So whenever, often it's little situations, for other people they look like nothing. But for you, when you are in the situation, it feels impossible, overwhelming. And then just stay there. I'm not saying that you should not move your body out of the situation. I mean, stay where you are with your awareness. Yeah. Also, when you move your body, also when you go home, just be where you are with your awareness. Be there with your helplessness, with your overwhelmedness. More is not needed. And when your awareness is there, when your chitta is there, all the rest happens by itself. This is my personal experience over and over again, in this life and others. That's what I wanted to add. Yeah. Thank you for this lovely evening. If there are no more questions, I will talk a few more minutes about Samarpan meditation and then I go to bed. I'm totally happy that we switched the satsang time half an hour early, because this way I come to bed a little bit earlier, and this is so good for me. So last chance for tonight. And I'm totally excited. Now it's the beginning of May, when we will have the next English online satsang. It will be directly after my first upcoming retreat in 3 weeks. Tomorrow, in 3 weeks, my first international retreat takes place. A 1 week retreat in Upper Austria, beautiful seminar house, beautiful surroundings. And I'm totally looking forward to it. If you listen and you have the lust to come and join us. We will have a wonderful time. 1 week of satsang, 1 week of taking care of your chitta and putting it where it belongs to your inside. Basically, the retreat house is full. All the rooms are booked, but you never know. If you feel the lust to come, I'm sure God will arrange something. And there's also the possibility to camp there with your own tent, or to come with a camper, with a Wohnmobil. And they also have a dormitory. There's also still space. So if you feel to come, I will be delighted. Yeah. If you are interested in learning something about Samarpan meditation, as I told you in the beginning of Satsang, this is not my meditation. This doesn't come from me. But on my website, I have a page called Samarpan Meditation, and there you find links to the official information about this meditation. There you find links to the German and international Samarpan meditation websites, and you can go directly to the source and get everything you need to know about it. Yeah, and this meditation is simple. It's totally not difficult. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. And the beautiful thing about it is that anybody can do it. You don't have to be wise. You don't have to be holy. You don't have to be spiritually correct. You can just add it to your life. You don't have to give up alcohol or eating meat or God knows what. You can just add it to your life. You just start meditating every morning or whenever you can. I like to do it in the morning, but do it whenever you can. And the rest of your life just stays the same. You don't have to change religion. You don't have to become part of a group. And that's the beautiful thing about this meditation. It's really for everybody, for people who live a normal life, just like you, just like me. And it's free, it doesn't cost anything. So if you feel to try this out, I can only recommend this. This is so good and so easy. It changes the life. It's amazing. It's really a miracle. Yeah, as I said, it's free. It doesn't cost anything. My Satsang is also free. All of the videos I create and I publish on my website, on YouTube, they're all free because I want you to just be free to see and listen to whatever you want. But I'm very, very happy if some people are out there who feel to support me in this, because basically all of my time and every inch of my energy goes into this. And nobody can imagine how much work it is. And I love to do it. It's just such a joyful life for me. And if you feel joy to support this, I'm delighted and very happy. If you feel like this, check out my website. There's the donate page, and there I have collected some information how you can support me. The easiest way is by becoming a member on Steady, because this gives me a small or not so small, depends on your choice, contribution every month. And when I get these regular contributions, this is an immense help for me in doing what I'm doing. Yeah. But other than that, I want you to feel totally free of just taking whatever you want. Yeah, no obligation involved here. Yeah. 1 minute left. No question, Simone? Okay. We have no idea how blessed we are in this life. I recently got a question where somebody asked me, why does it have to be so hard? Why does life have to be so difficult? We just have no idea how blessed we are. That we can experience this time. That we are allowed to turn inwards. Jesus was being crucified for speaking the truth. And he knew it. He knew, if I say the truth, they will kill me. But he had to. And today we can speak the truth and listen to the truth and live. It's amazing. Thank you. Thank you for Satsang. I love you.